Good morning. So, who are we thinking about today? Number 3, the overachiever. I don't know too many threes that well. I think I know 2 of them. And I'm kind of probably going to smash you both together into a Franken 3. Maybe I'll kind of focus on one, because it's, for me, I kind of get an image of you in my head, and I kind of just start dancing around it and seeing what I can pull out. So I'll probably dance around you both throughout this video and see where that leads to me. But the first 3, you're attractive. I find you attractive. But in a way where I'm like, I probably shouldn't eat that. Like, that's gonna kill me. So, yeah, like a beautiful mushroom or something. What? Yeah. So yeah, the overachiever. This type has kind of learned that, you know, love isn't quite there. Love is maybe not the most important thing, but rather that admiration is good enough, you know. So this tribe is always trying to strive to be the best, have the things that they think is required to have a good life, you know. So they're always going to be trying to hit that career as hard as possible, you know. Get the house, get the car, get the stuff, get all the stuff, and you know, when you're striving to to be the best, a lot of times you aren't really thinking about others really. So you might do stuff that will, you know, so you're doing without thinking. You're more action motivated. So you're just like doing, and a lot of times the doing is kind of it it uh it pushes others away a bit. One, people don't like to be outshined, and 2, if you're not acting before you're thinking, you might step over people for you know, the misconception that this is right, this is what I need, this is what I need to do. So there's a bit of that. There's not quite thinking of things through. So you start living life. You want to be the best version of yourself, but you're not thinking quite all these things all the way through, right? So you're going after that good job, but then you realize, oh, like let's say if you're a woman, and then you're 40 or 30 something, and then you're like, ah, fuck, like I got this great ass job, but I haven't worked on my family. What about kids? I have all this stuff, but I'm alone. Which can be a fucking existential crisis in that moment, because you're like, oh, I've been trying to achieve my whole life, and that's what I thought was right, but then what's the point if I'm alone? Which is a hurtful, mind-breaking movement right there. You're like, ah, shit. So at least this 3 I'm thinking of, it kind of hit that point. She achieved great things in her career. The point where I was like, ah, fuck, like, you're too much for me. Like, you like, I want to help support you. Like, and I don't feel like, you've almost, like, when I first met you, I was like, damn, like, what's the right word? I was, uh, yeah, I'm missing the right word. Uh, Not demoralized, dissuaded. I can't figure it out, but I was like, oh, you're too much. Like, you know, you got it too figured out right now. Which in reality, you didn't have it all figured out. You just had the job figured out, the status figured out. And then you ran away from that. You know, you're like, quit your job, and you went traveling the country, seeing all these brand new places and things, which I think is cool. But then in the day, you know, no new place is gonna change you. No new accomplishment is really gonna change you. Um, you have to change yourself, right? You know, these things, those accomplishment things, have a uncanny ability of like lasting a day. Like I barely, I barely am able to like bring them in and enjoy them. You know, I feel like most people that achieve great things barely even notice their accomplishments. It just is a thing, and then they go on, and then they forget about it in a year or so. But some of these accomplishments are monumental to others. Yeah. So, so you're a three, and what's on either side of the three? You have the two, which is a caregiver, the nurturer, this kind can go into servantry, like they want to help, they want to care, but they can be taken advantage of and turned into a servant. Okay, the other side of the three is a four, the individualist, the person that thinks they're special, the creative. All right. Um, so I feel like when you were married in the beginning, I feel like you probably aired onto your two-ness, being like that servant, kind of giving your higher empathy. You want to help this person, but you may not put your needs you might lower your needs. So you're putting this person ahead of you. You're serving them. You're helping them, right? Which builds up resentment over time. So I feel like that resentment got built up. You're building your career at the same time. While building your career, you're allowed to maintain invulnerability, right? Because career doesn't require you to be vulnerable, quite in the same way as relationships do. Yeah. So you go in that direction, right? And eventually you realize that this is not it. This is not enough to sustain me. And I feel like you're also a bit of an idol worshiper. So idol worship, like it's kind of like this person may have a bigger void here than average, and this bigger void needs to be filled with something. So and this bigger void it almost can't be filled by just a person. It needs to be filled with more, the divine, the spiritual, right? So this is where we start to get into that. I hate the word cult, but feel that vibe, right? The multiple wives, all these things. So you have that bigger need than average, and you're filling up the spiritual, the divine, yeah. So you're getting all metaphysically, right? And so you're taking these things as doctrine, like this is how I should live my life. But at three, you ain't thinking your shit quite as through as maybe you should. Maybe you should understand where did this information come from. Have you read the fucking Bible? Have you read the fucking Quran? Have you read? I haven't. Don't get me wrong, I haven't. But that researching underneath of it, where does this come from? Have you deciphered and translated all these things and made them your own, or has someone given you these things and translated it for you and given you their perspective? These are two different things. So I think spiritual is important. You should incorporate these things into your life to create a vessel for your essence. But when you let someone else do it for you, you are you are taking that spiritual that you're filling yourself with, and they are mirroring that spirit that you want to fill yourself with, right? So, they become your idol. They become the reincarnation of the thing you're trying to fill yourself with. So they're mirroring you on that spiritual level. Like I see you in this path you're taking. I am with you in this path, and they become the in no the idol, I don't know, they become that spirituality that you seek, and then you seek to have them fill that for you. Be it's the reincarnation, like the embodiment of that spirit. There you go. So you see that embodiment, but you gotta understand when you worship someone, you put them on this pedestal. That can only last so long. We are not perfect creatures, none of us. We might find this spirit, and these are good things to help us guideline our life. These stories, I think, stories are more real than reality. The stories are reality, just condensed condense into this thing that is more real than real, you know. So that's why I think these fake stories, you know, are more real than real. That's why the Bible has had so much impact. All these religions, you know, there are guidelines to live your life. How can I live my life in for betterment, you know? And each religion, each thing has a perception shift, you know, like even from the, you know, the revelations, which is on judgment, and then, you know, the more modern day, which is more on forgiveness. Like everyone's got a little tweak here. um, but I think we may need to put more emphasis onto judgment, you know. Like, what is this I am seeing right now? Like, do not just forgive this thing. What is it? What if I need to place judgment, then I better fucking know what I'm looking at. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm trying to lean into this. If I'm gonna judge, I better fucking know what I'm judging, you know? So that's what I'm leaning into here. I'm trying to understand people at a level so deep that you know, it hurts. You know, that it hurts. Yeah. So yeah, okay. So yeah, I saw you move for your two when you were married, and that built up resentment. I see you move from your two into your four more, a spiritual, creative thing. You're trying to create. You're trying to uh, do things to make this world a better place, which I love. Um, and so I like that fourness. The four also kind of tries to find suffering in this world and use it to distract themselves from their own suffering, which is a good and a bad. Like, I'm like, okay, ethically, morally, I get that. That's things I do. Um, but you know, you gotta focus on your own suffering. You know, you have to heal the suffering within to so that you can heal the suffering without with the outer of you. You know, and it becomes a cycle. The more I know about me, the more I can help you. The more I'm able to help you, the more I can help me. So it kind of just this thing where it comes back and forth, right? You know, and it keeps going. You know, the more I know, the more you know. The more you know, the more I know, which I dig. That's a mutually beneficial thing. So I dig that. So you move into your four. All right. So you're balancing yourself out. You know, we have two sides of each. Any number we have wings. You know, the devil and the angel. Like these two things communicate with us. We always lean onto one side more, but if we want to balance ourselves, we go the other way, right? And then you realize you have these two other people in you that you can call on at any time, you know. So if you're like a nine, you have your eight and your one. Your eight is your challenger. That's your ability to aggress, to contradict, to take action. Your one is more like your angel, the what's right. You know, what's the good path here? What's not gonna, you know, what's the ethically, morally sound thing? Not the, you know. And then for the three, it's the servant, the caregiver, the nurturer, and the artist. You know, the creative. All right, and then you got the overachiever in the center. Okay, so the overachiever is gonna uh, blanket the whole thing, and then, you know, and this the other side's lean over. All right, so what is where's my book? So three, uh, when you're unhealthy, you're a six, and when you're healthy, you're a nine. Yeah. So three. So if you are unhealthy, that means that you're moving to six, which is more of the higher anxiety type. You know, kind of paranoid, kind of anxious, really looking out into the future and seeing, okay, what could be going wrong here. And as an idol worshiper, you already have a really overactive mind, you know. Uh, so you're probably look a suspicious person. especially if you're unhealthy. So you probably start a relationship, you start getting suspicious because you're worshiping this person, and you might. I mean, anytime you worship anyone, you probably should you know, be skeptical. All right, well, I hit 15 minutes. Um, yeah, be tranquil, love yourself. And yeah, peace.